bit about yourself and what inspired you to give back?
Um, my name is Kachiside, Madu. I am a local native of Sacramento. I am a byproduct of two immigrant Nigerian parents, and I think a lot of my childhood and their experiences in the States has shaped my vision and my ideology about how I approach life, but then also it has spearheaded my business, making new images.
Yeah, he told us to keep it short, so just do something to make it go. Dang. So Armoni, Easley, I am a good balance between the Bay Area and Sacramento, which is a blessing. So I like to just say I'm from Northern California at this point because I know both sides, right? My mom's my superhero. She means a lot. She sounds like she was trying to make it here, but I don't see her, so she'll get the video. Love you, Mom. I am my dad's twin. Something that's important to like just put him in the spaces. He was murdered a month before I was born, and so I never got to physically like beat the man. But people just tell me to look in the mirror, look at my actions, and I am him, and that means a lot. To say like, get to know yourself when you get to know your dad, and so I hold that dearly. And yeah, I'm a lifelong mentor, lifelong learner, a husband to a beautiful wife, Mariah Easley. And I'll be quiet.
Right, we always make space for black love in this space, okay? In creating your organization, were there specific challenges or inspirations from your community that played a role in shaping your mission?
To help y'all, want me to go first on this one?
Okay.
Yeah, got you. So I do believe that a lot of the ingredients of like a Project Optimism, as one of the co-founders, is a response to my childhood of what I received, what I was exposed to, what I had, what I didn't have, and how I could pay it forward in the most beautiful, like best picture possible. How can I do that while I'm on this earth? And so one of the biggest things is mentorship, because with the absence of not having a father, I did a lot of watching and observing others to get my game, to get my niches or whatever it is to embody it for myself. And so through mentorship, I like to tell people all the time, because they'll hear it, I'll be like, mentorship has saved my life. I say that every single time. And they'll think instantly like, oh, you have people that poured into you. And I was like, not really. When I say mentorship has saved my life, I talk about the fact that I got a chance to be a mentor. And what I said to a young person, what I did for a young person, the way I showed up for a young person, I was making myself a better man, a better person. And I tell our mentors that work for Project Optimism all the time, like you're going to come in here because you want to make a difference, but you're going to realize that young person actually imprinting something, imputing something on you that is going to change you. And so I think I'll leave it there.
You know, and I hear your response about, you know, the exchange of energy between the mentors and the mentees. The interdependency is something that I kind of thrive my business off of as well. I think when it comes down to humanitarianism and it comes down to just giving back to the people and the folks that we're serving, when you meet them on the humanity level, it has a huge impact not only yourself, but also the community you're serving. So for myself, you know, I'm a photography business, and I like to pride myself from other photography businesses as someone who's actually giving back to the youth and giving back to the community. So a lot of my work is based on giving back to folks back in Africa or the folks in Sacramento who are homeless and our youth. So some of the challenges I've had to face along this journey is just starting, right? It's just taking that first step towards making a difference in the community and figuring out exactly where to go. But then also recognizing that there's a lot of folks in Sacramento, nationally, who are on the same page as you. It's a matter of just actually putting stuff out there so they can see it. And then you're giving them a platform or an opportunity to kind of like go ahead and contribute to the cause. I just remember starting off when it comes to, you know, doing the Take Them Home campaign or the Solidarity Saturdays. It was hard getting folks to come out and volunteer. It was hard to get donations. It was tough to kind of get people to see the vision because there are so many different organizations who are doing the same similar work. So how can I go ahead and make mine a little differently? So I kind of wanted to incorporate the photography to it, right? So not only are we out there giving back to the folks who are unfortunate, we're also able to get them a portrait because a lot of folks who are unhoused or who are unfortunate, they don't get the normal kind of day-to-day things that we get a chance to take care of or experience. So a picture to us is something that we just So the biggest challenge is getting started, but then also as you are on that journey, it's about how you sustain it with your partnerships with your folks in the community who want to kind of support your mission.
And I just want to throw a layer on that because we had a conversation to the side, and what makes me happy is Project Optimism got to a point where it's like, what is our bread and butter? What are we going to focus on? Because you can do a lot of things because your heart is big, but like if you're doing a lot of things, what are you great at, right? And so we really got great at our mentorship program, the leadership development. But one of my favorite things is what he does. And so he talked about partnership, and we already talking like, hey, next Saturday pull up because I said we have a whole bunch of care packages that we can give to the event, but also like one of my favorite things about those day of services that we used to do that you're doing is the conversations that we have. I always encourage like volunteers, like have a conversation because let's be real in here. I'm gonna be one of them to raise my hand. We've got desensitized to how many people we see on the streets on a day-to-day. And that day of service remind me of like, oh shoot, like stop, pause, wait a minute. You one story, one mistake away from being right here, right now, if you're not understanding, you know, the true story. And like, very inspired when I'm in those spaces. Like I remember vividly a dude sleeping, he had a book right next to him talking about, and the book was about business. And I'm like, let's go. Like that made me really, really happy because he on his journey still too. And if anything, I can't wait to see him on the other side because of like, you know, the way he's showing up for himself, right? And so I just wanted to acknowledge, for one, he's Kodak photographer, like really, really cool. You dope, bro. Yeah, I gotta say that on wax. He's true. Hit my mans. But also, like, I really appreciate that you were doing that because we had to get away from that at one point to focus on one thing, but then we could always partner with you because you're doing it and we could be a part of what you're doing. So
That means a lot too, because there's admiration on both ends. You know what I mean? Because Armoni's an educator, and I used to be a school counselor. So at my school site, seeing young black men and seeing the young kids being able to get mentored and being able to kind of get resources to better their educational system and their educational experience is vital, right? So when we talk about giving back to the kids and giving back to the community and making sure that they have equal opportunities and resources and equity and access, it's essential. And you're closing that barrier for a lot of our families. And backstory, Valley High kids, right? So like Valley High, so it means even more knowing that like in my own backyard, our kids will be taken care of. Kids like us who've grown up and have opportunities and resources and not given that equal playing field, and that right there is priceless. Impact, you know?
everybody say impact.
I love the energy and the support and the love. And speaking of that, like when it comes to building community, what are the things that you all need, right, to sustain? Because it's a lot to hold as an individual. Like you said, your heart only has so much space. And so how are you, you know, supporting each other, but also how can the community support you?
Yeah, honestly, I've been real fortunate and real lucky because on this journey, it's not just you, right? I think at times people see the folks who are behind the Instagram pages, behind the panels, and like, okay, they're the face, but there's a whole village behind us. And I know for a fact I would not be able to get here without my girlfriend Michelle, who's been super supportive on this whole journey, who is even taking over the Solvay Saturday page to run it, you know. So it's things like that that people don't oftentimes see. That goes a long ways to making sure that our product is actually something that's deliverable. But then also when it comes to just support, right? And support doesn't have to always be monetary. It could be as simple as just sending a text like, hey, I see you, bro. I know this journey is not easy and I see you. Or a retweet or a repost. But if you got it, then cool. If you can go ahead and send us some dollars, then it helps, right? But at the same time, there's more than one way to contribute to a cause. And what I learned on this journey through consistency, as we were talking about earlier, is that as you stay consistent, more people will catch on to that wave. And as a result of that consistency, you'll start getting more partnerships, you'll start having more opportunities and more spaces where you're gonna have conversations that can potentially open more doors in the future. So I would just say more support, whether that be monetary, whether that be words, verbally, and or just in the flesh, it's just, you know, positive vibes goes a long ways in support.
So there's a few things I want to say, but one of the first things that came to my mind, I was talking to my brother Nick about this opportunity where I get a chance to be a keynote speaker of this 3-day conference, right? And one of the biggest subjects that they want me to tackle is compassion fatigue. And I'm like, And the reason why is because, for one, I had to Google it again just to kind of see like the certain things about it, and like it talked about the triggers and the symptoms. And I'm like, I experience that every other day, you know? And so I already know, I'm already plotting, like I'm about to just, on a PowerPoint, I'm gonna have the different triggers and signals, right? And I'm like, just to make sure before I get started, hey, raise your hand if I don't have you by myself, have you experienced it? Just to okay the situation, because we need to have this experience together, right? And I think in a lot of ways, the same things that make me really passionate about the work that we get to do is the same things that we're still struggling with. Like literally, my little Apple Watch was going off right now, but it's my brother that's been in jail for so freaking long. My brother got out of jail last Christmas, and they picked him up to fight another case because he did something at a different spot in a really white area that don't understand us, don't understand that brother is going through mental health and substance abuse problems when he goes back, right? So many different things that we're fighting while we're fighting, if that makes sense, right? And I think that's something that stays with us on why we can't give up or why we can't do X, Y, and Z. But what I tell our young people, what I'll tell all of y'all is the job is to do your part. Don't get lost in every single thing that needs to happen to make the world a better place, because then you'll burn out. And you have to care so much that you can't burn out. Because if you do burn out, then who's going to be there on second Sundays, or Second Sundays or Sundays? I had it. I'll be there, pull up. And so I think that's like the blessing and the honor of the work that we do is a constant reminder of like knowing purpose and knowing what matters, because the pandemic was supposed to be the perfect opportunity for us to be like, oh shoot, life is about family. I can't be around my family no more right now. I can't just go outside. I can't do certain things. And it's like, okay, let me make sure I take what I understand from the pandemic and bring that into when we come back to normal. And if I'm honest with y'all, I still let the world get back to normal. And I don't feel cool with that. And that's why the blessings are the blessings of having this conversation, because I could press that restart button. And so I got a lot of thoughts. I didn't really answer the question the way I wanted to, but my time is up. And I'll be back.
First of all, look at time management skills, man. You're doing good. But on that piece around mental health, especially as Black men in this work, right, it's really how are you both creating or having capacity for others and their mental health and well-being, and then also creating it for yourself. Because talking about that compassion fatigue, it can show up in so many ways, and also we can push it aside. And people that do people work, right, we're like, oh, we need to do this, we need to do that, and we put ourselves on the back burners on how are you prioritizing, right, your mental health to sustain, the work that's in the bag.
I got you, bro. Great philosopher, Tupac Shakur, always talks about, he said not to just be a role model, but be a real model. And so that's something that a young person reminded me of that quote, and I stick with that. And so to be a real model with y'all, I've gotten better, but in my early stages of doing this work for 14 years, terrible at it. Because I love the work so much. I love working with young people. I love how fun they are, what I learn from them, what I'm able to give them, all the stuff, right? And so sometimes I don't always see it coming when it comes down to like what I'm struggling with or what I need to do. I'm willing to address it and acknowledge it and have a great conversation about it, but the application behind it is the most important part, or the second most important part, awareness and application. And so I think in a lot of ways, I have a book called Life Work, and the book is about self-mastery. And so practicing what I preach and actually getting into my own book will be one of those solutions, right? And then yes, I normalize therapy, and I love therapy. I even have like a moral compass, and my therapist, cool white dude, he said, what type of man do you want to be, Armoni? And that's something that's always my like North Star, like something that allows for me to get back on track, because if I'm far away from that, I realize that like everything else is in, not shambles, but, and this is another thing, I know you know this because you're great, but something, and I'll just speak for us as a Black man, but we can operate on like 30%, and people think we doing work, and I know I have more to give, and I know I'm like being low-key selfish because I'm not taking care of myself, I'm not acknowledging the things that I need to address, because there's so much more in there, right? But I'm able to operate on that. And so that moral compass of asking that question, what type of man do you want to be, Armoni, allows for me to push forward because it's people counting on us. You know, it's so many things that's layered into what we want to do in life that, like, my goal is, like, I really want to take every single thing off the table before it's time for me to go. And that involves my full attention, my full participation and application. So, yeah.
The compassion fatigue is real. And I say that because as a fellow former educator, I remember when I first got done with grad school and I was telling my professors, like, I want to change the world, every kid at a time. And then the school that I was working at, it was in a low socioeconomic status neighborhood, and all the babies there looked like me, and I was hearing their stories, and I want to take them home with me, and I'm going home with their stories, and I'm like, man, I'm at home thinking about the kid until like 11 a.m. in the morning. It's like, there's a lot going on, right? So the way that I take care of myself when it comes to just the mental health capacity is I practice mindfulness, I meditate. I'm still working on a consistent schedule to kind of have that locked in. But as a former school counselor, these are things that we've taught our kids to put in their toolbox as ways for them to cope with whatever they're going through, whether it be traumatic experiences, and or good things, right? Being able to kind of find that mindfulness and that voice for yourself. I'm a huge karaoke person. I like doing karaoke.
Prove it. Come on.
But then Miguel don't have many drinks as a rap, right? But no, I karaoke, and I picked up on bowling. Photography used to be my kind of therapeutic beliefs, but now that I'm doing that full time, I can't necessarily rely on that as my go-to. Although there are times now that the things that kind of got me into photography and got me real passionate, I've unfortunately had to kind of like steer away from that because now when you're on that entrepreneur hype, you're doing more jobs that are going to pay you. And at times when it comes to me actually filling my bucket up again, I'll put the paid jobs to the side and go back into the street photography, go back into the streets. And I'm big on humanity. Long story short, that's my whole purpose. I'm big on just making sure that people are being seen and being valued for who they are. Because like I said before, at a young age, I saw my parents go through some situations where it just made me look at the world differently. So we're all very alike, we're all very similar. We're more similar than different. And if you take the time to really have a conversation, put your ego to the side, you'll recognize that there's a lot more things that you can actually take away from the next person next to you, and vice versa, right? So my therapy is talking to individuals on the streets and hearing their stories and getting to know them and figuring out exactly like how can we come together to make society better, right? There's so much power in that conversation that I think oftentimes people don't have.
He just said something I just need to make sure I put into the space because it's important, bro. Like, photography is your passion. Working with these young people, for me, both of us, is our passion, but it's a business too. And so therefore we have to find other things, like the gym is big. Shout out to my brother Corey. The gym has been big for me, a cheat code, right? But in my head, in my heart, one of my biggest goals is I want to be so financially free that I can get back to doing this for free again. You know what I'm saying? Like that is important to me because I always say it, like, I would do this for free anyway. Like, you know, I really, really would. And so that just really hit me. So yeah, I just want to put that in perspective that, like, it sucks, and I know you're good, but I'm saying it sucks to hear you say something that you're so passionate about. Now it's a part of your business that you didn't say this, but it made me feel like, okay, I'm not wrong. Yeah. And we understand, like, money is a resource, it is a tool. Absolutely, right? But it sucks.
It sucks, and I'm trying to have more discernment on like certain jobs that I take because I was telling my boy about this. Like, I don't ever want to feel like I'm like selling my soul, right? So, for example, I always do this comparison of like musicians, and a lot of artists, they have a lot more creativity or a lot more freedom with the creativity when they do mixtapes, right? Or they're independent.
Oh, that's good.
And then the moment they sign a deal or they sign a record label, now we need 3 songs for a pop, we need 5 songs, we're gonna do this, and now your creativity, integrity is no longer matching your product. And I don't ever want to be in that situation. But I know that when it's all said and done, I want to be known for my black and whites and my philanthropic work. And I know that I'm working towards that. But in the meantime, in order for me to pay my mortgage, pay my bills, I have to do the weddings, I have to do the couples. Not saying I don't like
really, really short. If you don't stay authentic, Cat Williams gonna call you out. We're back to you.
Say no little parties. Say no.
And talking about that, right, when it comes to your work and the integrity of your work, as you are measuring success, we know as you do people work, you can't always measure success numerically, right? The numbers aren't always there, especially as you're doing hard work. So what does measuring success look like in your work?
My bad, bro. Can I go? I just don't want to forget what I'm about to say. So I'm really happy you say that. And I think one of the things that's staying true to me is I know me as a student, me as a person, like the stuff I do is the intangibles, right? Like you feel it, you don't always see it on the stat sheet. And so I would be crazy to have an organization, I co-founded with my brother, and we don't have the metrics of, yes, we have, in order for us to have a contract with some of these schools, grades, attendance, and behavior are important for us to address to be in partnership, right? That's their bottom line, that's how they get the funding, right? But we know on the back end that we're going to celebrate the kid that went from a D to an A, but have the same energy for the kid that didn't put their hands on somebody for a whole week. We're going to celebrate those equally, you know? Equally. And I think in a lot of ways, because I'm unorthodox, I always love to see a young person do something, you know? And I don't just say good job. I say good job because you did X, Y, and Z. If we're able to tell somebody about what they're doing good, they're able to maximize it, you know? And so in a lot of ways, I always think, I just want to make sure I got this all. That's all. I can stop here. Okay, my bad.
No, I mean, I think to your point, right, as a fellow educator, because I've been on both sides of that fence. I've been a student in the K-12 system, and, I was an educator, so now I'm behind the scenes hearing conversations and hearing things that I'm like, oh, snap, I wonder what y'all saying about me when I was in second and third grade, sixth grade, right? So now I'm on the side, to your point, it's not always about the kid who's going from 1.0 to a 4.0, but there's kids out there who are literally being their parents. I had a student in San Francisco when I was first starting student counseling. The kid would come to school late every day. And the teachers were like, oh man, he doesn't care about school. He doesn't care, just cast him off. And he'd have a conversation. I'm like, bro, what's going on? Bro, my mom goes to work at 5 in the morning. My dad's not in my life. I have 2 younger siblings. I have to walk them to school every day before I come to school. And these are conversations that a lot of folks don't want to have with kids who look like us because they're, for some reason, maybe biased, whatever it may be. That's a whole different conversation. But it's those small accomplishments that go a long way. So when the kid came to school for a whole week straight on time, we highlighted that. We made sure that we went ahead and had a little situation where we kind of heard him, saw him, and went ahead and awarded him for his good behavior and for him changing the corner, right? So it's things like that that oftentimes you won't see as measurable because it's not an achievement goal or a smart goal, but at the same time it's making a huge difference in that kid's life and then also his family's. But when it comes to my philanthropic work, I gauge success off of just the faces that I see and the people who are receiving the resources. So when it comes to going back to Ghana in September and going out there and seeing the kids that we adopted the school from, it's seeing their faces, it's seeing the ceremonies, it's seeing how the community is embracing us, it's seeing how they're coming and giving us hugs saying you're making a huge impact in our lives, right? And there's no data that can show that and prove that outside of just seeing the faces and seeing the impact that you're actually having. When it comes to Solidarity Saturday, we started off with 2 volunteers, right? And there's some volunteers in here right now who came for the first couple ones. And then if you look at it now, we're now averaging maybe about 40 volunteers, right? And that's just through consistency and being able to understand that, I ain't gonna lie to y'all, I don't like being in front of the camera, right? I'm a shy person, I don't like talking like that, but I'm realizing that in order for me to go ahead and make a huge impact in my community and to walk in my purpose that God has given me, I gotta go ahead and overcome my fears and my fears to understand there's a bigger impact that I'm having, right? So that's one thing that I've learned, and through that, it's been good to see the impact that we're having in the community, not only in Sacramento but internationally now in Ghana, right? So that's how I measure success, to anecdotes and personal stories.
So much stuff. I'll stop.
I can see it in your face. You process it. Someone make space first.
So, you want me to say it still?
amplifying the Black community?
Amplifying their voices, right?
Okay. Well, you know, it's crazy you say that because, like, I coined myself when it comes to like taking care of the folks in the streets is being the voice of the voiceless, and I hate that I'm coined that way or I call myself that, but because my voice is no greater, no worse than anyone that I'm serving the community. But unfortunately, through the stigma that's associated to homelessness, a lot of folks don't necessarily give the folks who are classified under that umbrella the opportunity or the platform to use your voice, right? So whenever I go out there in the community and I'm serving the folks, like it took me about the first 6 to 7 months before I brought my camera out because I wanted them to understand I'm not here for the clout, I'm not here for exploitation. I'm really here because I see you and because like we're all one check away from being homeless, depending on where you're coming from and your upbringing. So for myself, I always try to give them the platform to kind of share their voices and share their stories because I can take a picture and have a caption, and for the folks who are going to read it, they're going to see it. But it's nothing more powerful than you being on camera, being able to express your gratitude for the folks who are actually donating socks, sweaters, hoodies, food, and then being able to just, give them a platform to show who they are, right? Like, I had a gentleman 2 years ago, and I might get teary-eyed because this story, like, really, it kind of changed my life in a sense, too. But a few years ago, I had this thing called Fill the Bag Challenge, and the idea behind that was folks going to going to the closet, and anything you have more than the last year, go ahead and put it in the bag, fill it up, and then go ahead and I'll come pick it up from you if you feel comfortable, or I can meet you somewhere. But the idea behind it was not to fill it with FILL, but to fill it with your feelings so that they're exchanging energy, and they receive that, they're gonna go ahead and feel that energy and go ahead and, feel good about themselves. So we were doing that every day in the summer, and met this gentleman, I won't say his name for confidentiality reasons, but every day I'm out there, he's like, hey man, tell your mom you love her. I'm like, I got you. All right, and then for a whole month, 2 months, 3 months, tell your mom you love her. I'm like, I got you. So as these months are kind of going on, we're having deeper conversations. I'm like, bro, you always tell me to go say my mom that I love her. Like, what's going on with that? He's like, man, that's what I lost my mom. I lost my mom, and I wish I would have had an opportunity to tell her I love her more than I've done so. So I have this conversation, and we're talking for like hours now, and he starts crying. He starts like breaking down full tears, and I'm thinking it's because obviously the situation with his mom's. And I'm like, bro, where's this coming from? He's like, honestly, bro, the last year, I have not had a conversation like this. No one has spoke to me in the last year for more than 5 minutes. And when I heard that, I broke down because we have those every day. Like, we're able to talk to your partner, your friend, or maybe even if you want to work, that one coworker, you still have a conversation with that person, right? Whereas someone who is in need, who is going through a traumatic experience, had no one to go ahead and vent to, right? And to have the outlet. So it's situations like that, or stories like that, that make me go back and realize that there's so much power in the small things that we take for granted as human beings because we're not in the same shoes as other people. But the moment that you're able to kind of humble yourself and really just open yourself to those conversations, I kid you not only are you better yourself, right? You're obviously going to help the person that's having the conversation, but society as a whole is going to, go for the greater. When it comes to amplifying the voices, doing partnerships, things of that nature, I think it comes down to just people who are aligned in the same purpose, who are aligned in the same kind of framework and mindset, and figuring out ways in which we can collaboratively come together to make a bigger change and put the ego to the side, right? Like, the ego is the biggest thing that can sometimes be the biggest deterrent to actually getting something going. And through my experiences, both good and bad, through those ego trips, I've learned to realize that taking the backseat sometimes can actually, get you where you want to get to a lot quicker.
I'm absolutely proud of you, bro. Because I know he doesn't want to do it, but you're really, really good, bro. Like, you going crazy right now. Like, for real. Like, I see you. Like,
I appreciate
nah,
that.
no,
I'm over here sweating. I'm like,
You're sweating because you're cooking. Hey, babe, watch this. Watch this. Where you going to be at Sunday? Because you preaching.
Okay. I'm going to be on Sunday.
Hey, babe, I'm 3 for 3 on that one. I'm 3 for 3. That's the one I remember. So tangibly, something that I'm big on, something that I make sure my team is big on, especially as leaders, I feel like we all should be on, is always try to identify what people are passionate about, what they're good at, and what they're doing already. Because me as a maximizer, I know that I can get the best out of somebody when I'm thinking in that way, right? In a lot of ways, something I know is really good for Project Optimism and just kind of any endeavor that I step into is I get great people. I get great people at the right time. And I have a game plan. My game plan, and I'm going to just say it might be the universe for other people, but my game plan has got nothing on God. Like nothing. My game plan is always small to what he has for me and have for the things around me. And how much of an honor it is to hold space with certain things that we have. You know, certain events, how many schools we work with now, going from like 1 or 2 schools to 14 schools, to not just being in Sacramento, but to be in LA as well. It's just so many things in abundance that like that wasn't the game plan. The game plan is still to do our part, but this is a big part. Like this is a big role that we are in, and so every single time, even with the challenges, I say it all the time, Nick, DJ, we pray for these. We pray for these challenges, bro. Like, and it's so much of an honor that it's like, I can't, if you put this in front of me, let's go. I could be tired, I could go through it, but I can look over here and know my brother getting it in. You know how it is with the gym, right? Like, I know you doing an extra set, so I'm about to do this extra set. What's happening? You know, like, so in a lot of ways, I just think that iron sharpens iron for sure. But also, like, when you're looking at opportunities to help other people, like, take notice to what they're doing. You know, take notice of what they're passionate about. And if you see somebody, connect the dots. Like, you know, this person needs this. You never know. These people might come together. I've seen it. I've seen people start businesses because I put them together. I'm not good with, you know, the matchmaking thing all the time, you know, but every now and then I do good, you know, I do good with that. So I mean, all purpose, figure out ways to put people in position to win, and you can't lose. And so yes, I have a book, Life Work. I keep on telling you that because I want y'all to get the book. I really, really do because it's a blessing. But also, I haven't read a lot of books, right? And so when I do read a book and I like it, I'm gonna promote it. And one of the gems of a book I would say is called The Go-Giver. And so we always hear like the go-getter mentality, which is beautiful, but I've never lost, even before I didn't have the language of, what happened? Oh. By giving. I've never, so you finished it, yeah, so I've never lost
by giving.
You feel me? But on a serious tip, like, I haven't lost by just being a go-giver. And one of the laws in the book is reciprocity. And what I love about it is it happens in like the rarest form, never thought about it. It's fun now, man. It's fun, you know, and it comes at the right time. I got a quick story. I'm gonna be quick as possible. I'm gonna try. But when I was working at the Children's Receiving Home, where I found my calling and my blessing, I remember like how hard it was. I went like 3 days, never called. I mean, 3 years, never called out. Like I was like locked in, and I just was tired over like the holiday season, and also working at a foster care agency. They come and go. You don't know where they go. Like it's a lot of like stuff that you wear and hold. But I remember a young kid named TJ that would give me like he would take pride and try to get people fired. Like he was one of those, right? But I stayed consistent. I showed up every day, even though I know he didn't like me for the day. And I would just be there for him, whole space. And I don't know where he went, right? He's 13, 14 years old. He comes back to the Children's Receiving Home just to say hi, and he donated $100. And he said, I want to donate this $100 to Armoni's dorm because I want him to know that I heard him. And I'm with my family now. I'm being a leader with them. I'm helping them. And I just needed him to know that I heard him at 14, 13 years old, you know? And that charged me for like 10 more years, you know? And so it ain't just like, y'all get it, right? I got the story, y'all. Go ahead. You can do it.
I think for educators, I don't know who else is educator in this room, but
everybody's educator here.
Yeah, so like if you work with youth and you don't ever know if you're actually doing a good job. It's like, you just don't know. And it's not until they get, well, it depends. I think as they get older, they're more willing to tell you straight up like how you've been impacting their life. But I was working with middle school kids and elementary school kids, and those kids aren't going to tell you like as often as a high schooler is. So there's times where it's like, man, am I actually doing a good job? Am I making an impact? And it's not until, this is myself, I got to high school, and one of my students was like, hey, Mr. Madu, man, like without you, Mr. Amy and Mr. Malone, I would not be here right now. And that's, in my mind, I'm like, I'm joy. I don't know if you're like doing a happy dance, you know, but when he was in middle school, do so, but I think ultimately making Madu images, this goal is to go ahead and create impact, both locally and nationally, so that folks who are populations who oftentimes are oppressed, who are not given the equal fair opportunities, are now given a platform and are being seen in the right light, right? CNN, MSNBC, Fox 40, all these different news outlets who are controlled by the, they're not accurately like depicting who we are as a culture and as a community. So for me, I'm real passionate about accurately showing those depictions. So when it comes to that part, I want to make sure that that's being done. And when it comes to the international kind of things that me and my brothers are doing, we adopted a school in Ghana over the last 2 years. Over the last 2 years, we had a Take Them Home campaign where we went ahead and raised a lot of resources, food, clothes, toiletries. We kept on shipping back home to Ghana. And then we went ahead and went to Ghana in September. And the overall goal behind Take Them Home campaign is to close the diaspora, right? To get people from the States to go ahead and want to come back home so they can see it for themselves and not letting the history books kind of show you these falsified depictions of what Africa really is. And in doing that, we're able to go out there and we fed 4 different communities. One in which my brother, Kofi Ibsen, shout out to Black Star United, I hope he's watching this, or he'll see this, because he's the one who actually spearheaded this. He's actually born and raised in Ghana, immigrated here when he was 7 years old, I want to say 7 or 8 years old, and he will say himself, he's the one that got out, right? So he got out, but he doesn't want to sit here and ignore the fact that he was a lucky one. So he wanted to make sure that we go back home and take care of our folks. I'm not Ghanaian, I'm Nigerian, but if you know, Ghana and Nigeria are they're literally a 2-hour flight, right? So they're really close, and a lot of the cultures are very similar. But yeah, so when it comes to that, we're going to keep on continuing to do that. We're trying to figure out if we're going to do it yearly or every other year, but the goal is for us to continue to close the gap between America and Africa when it comes to literacy and educational system, while at the same time making sure that we're getting folks from America to feel inspired to want to go back to Ghana, go back to Africa to see for themselves, so we can go ahead and create a bigger change.
That's good. Thank you, bro. Of course. I think we're on the right track when it comes down to impact. A lot of it for us is knowing when not to overextend ourselves. Because at this point, like I said, at first it was us just begging school, please give us opportunity. Now I feel like we're telling a school or an opportunity to know every other week, every other day, because it's such a need, And I think staying true to being really good at this, package it, do right by it, create the systems, and making sure it's fine-tuned before we even think about expanding even further, right? And so I think this season, this continued thing in this season is systems. And we had some successful moments, shout out to my brother, Ishmael Pruitt, one of the coldest ones to do it. That's my co-founder, but he just had his baby boy with his wife. And he was able to do maternity leave. It's called maternity leave, right? I thought the M for the men. Okay. All right. So everybody understand we're on the same page now. Moving on. So him being able to do that and the ship is still running. Me and wifey got COVID. We was out for a second and the ship's still running. That's a blessing. That's what we pray for, but also to be selfless is to make sure that this lives past you. And in a lot of ways, that's systems. In a lot of ways, that's putting people in position that's faster than you, smarter than you, doing the things, walking in their purpose, putting them in position to be able to maximize their purpose. And so I think that's what impact means to me, because I'm at a point where I don't get to do the direct services no more. And when I get to be in this space, I'm in love, and I try to sit back because I can't be there no more, right? But my newfound assignment is mentoring the mentor, and so I feel like I'm doing that same, mentorship program with our staff, because they're young college students and young professionals on their journey, and it's really cool to see.
So it sounds like the mentorship in the organization has evolved. I went from mentoring the youth to now mentoring the young adults, because now you're recognizing that as a leader and as your business is growing, it's like you got to be further removed from the direct services that got you into the business, right? And that's why I always tell educators, man, I can never be in the district office. I can never be an admin, because you're you want to give back to the community in a certain, whether it be, shelters, animal shelters, or, folks who are displaced, going online and really like doing your research on nonprofits, organizations who are doing that, and then putting yourself in a position to go ahead and have those conversations, because we're more alike than not. And I've learned through this whole journey is that when you have a platform, you're able to go ahead and provide folks the opportunity to donate, because we all have different lives. Some people are parents, some people are caregivers, and they want to give back, but they don't have the time or capacity to do so. So if you can alleviate that hurdle, and be like, hey, you know what, sis? Hey, bro, I got you. Leave that back outside the crib. I'll come get it for you. Then there's no hurdles that should be made. So the first step is just to kind of go ahead and like find folks who are doing similar work that you want to get into, and figuring out ways how you can contribute to that cause or be a service. And then from there, just keep on running.
Like he said, just get started. Like that really is a real thing, and I think I'm probably the wrong person to talk to, because I'm gonna learn by doing. Like I'm gonna jump out there, assess the situation, and then just maximize from there. But I know it's system thinking, people in here that's like, I need the right thing, I need the right system, I need the right degree, and all those things, and that's like overthinking. You don't understand that like what is needed, you already have, so I'm gonna encourage people to jump out the window and get started. And something more like, I won't say tangible, but something I always give people the perspective on, which is the unseen hours, is I work for 2 different nonprofits and a school district at the district office, and it allowed for me to really maximize relationships, making a name for myself, then making a name for Project Optimism. So when I took that leap of faith, they're like, well, where are you going? I'm like, Project Optimism. And one of the districts that we work with, I'm one person working within that district, but I've leveraged it to the point where like in Sacramento, we have like close to 18 staff. We almost have 30 staff in total, for both regions. But in a lot of ways, I was underutilized because I knew I had more to give. I wanted to put more people in position, And so I think in a lot of ways, internships, volunteer, whatever you're thinking about doing, find out who's doing it already and go help them. Go tap in, go partner, go do all those things, because it's going to stack on each other, those different things. And I think that just be good to people too, because you never know when y'all might cross paths and when y'all might need each other, or it might be proper for y'all to connect. But if it was funky back in the day, it might be funk when it shouldn't matter, because y'all both have the same goals, So, and I think in a lot of ways, just staying true to knowing that you're just doing your part. And it's fun to do it in partnership. It really is a fun thing. Yeah. Everybody in here, not everybody, sorry, I lied if I said that. But a lot of people in here, I'll say everybody here I would like to partner with, but it's a lot of people in here that I partner with in some capacity, and just doing it with people is so much better. And then I'll say in closing 2 things. If everybody does a little, nobody has to do a lot. That's one thing. And then just knowing, did I have a second thing? I lost it because I was in that moment. If they come back, I'll holler at you. Do I have it? 5, 4, don't count. Yeah, I lost it. But yeah, that part.
I just want to chime in 2 last things. A wise man told me to establish great relationships with great people, right? And I think at times when you're going to these different community service events or whatnot, and these different initiatives, you're gonna come across a lot of great people in that attendance, right? So that's a good way for you to network, and then for you to go ahead and come across other people who are aligned on the same purpose as you, and that right there can open up so many different doors. But what plays a role that's not going out there is that voice in our mind, like, okay, I have to have this lined up and that and this. And it's like, just show up. Just show up and let God or whoever you believe in guide the way.
Everybody say, show up.
Show up.
To glow up.
To glow up.
I'm done with y'all.
Also, manifesting takes work, right? I think a lot of times people are like, oh, I'm manifesting, I'm sitting, I'm writing in my journal, but it requires footwork. It requires you to get out there and do it so that all the things can flow into that. So I really appreciate y'all, tapping into that. So.
And this wasn't the second one, but I just want to say this imagery. This is the imagery that I think about. In a lot of ways, y'all, like, I always think about like somebody like broke down on the side of the road with their car or something like that, right? They're sitting in the car and like feeling stuck with because their car broke down. Somebody might help them, right? But y'all seen it. You see somebody pushing their car and like they're putting in that work, you're probably gonna get out a little faster because you see they actually got motion, they got action, they want, they have skin in the game of what's about to happen, right? And you can see it a little bit more. And so I just think in a lot all in place